Use your powers for evil.
Your evil is mine.
Hello and Merry Christmas and Happy Hoovian. I am Jesse Jackson and this is a holiday special of Next Stop Everywhere. And joining me underneath the Christmas tree and the mistletoe.
I was going to say, are you putting me under the mistletoe?
Yes.
You're just feeding the shippers now.
Yes, we are.
Or the slash fix.
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm good, Jesse. How are you?
I am great.
Happy Christmas invasion, everyone. For those of you who celebrate the Christmas invasion. Otherwise, happy holidays.
Absolutely. We are going to be talking about the Husbands of River Song.
Mm-hmm.
This year's Christmas special.
The 11th.
Is this the 11th?
The 11th one, yep.
Wow.
Already.
Okay.
Getting up there.
Yes, it is. We want to kind of listen about that. I want to start out the episode saying, how much did you squeal when you saw your Twitter name on the screen? So talk to me. So let me give you a little background, listeners.
Mm-hmm.
We had a full Christmas day. We had family over, and we had a great day. And they did not leave till after 9. And so everyone left after 9. And Chris was exhausted and said, "Dad, I'm going to have to pass on watching the Christmas special with you." I said, "I understand, no big deal." For the past 2 or 3 years, that's the only Doctor Who episode he watches. And so Linda went to bed, and Linda said, "Are you going to stay up and watch?" I go, "Absolutely. This is the only way to end a Christmas day." And so I tweeted out, and both Charles and friend of the podcast, Devin,
Mm-hmm.
don't skip the commercials.
Yep. Well,
I'm like,
I posted that too. Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, what's so special about the commercials? And so I'm thinking, and they did have some behind the scenes little snippets,
Mm-hmm.
but you tell, and then I saw what was so surprising. So you tell your side of it.
Okay, well, obviously in the Skaggs household, the annual Doctor Who marathon on BBC America is playing like no tomorrow. At least when I'm home and not away for Christmas. But so happen to be sitting around, just kind of casually enjoying the Christmas episodes. I think we were watching. Oh, I'm trying to remember what we were watching. One of the Christmas specials,
Okay.
that they were re-airing. I think it was Christmas Carol or something like that, with the Matt Smith episode.
Okay.
And they happened to come across, there was a commercial for what is called it's a new BBC America special coming in January called Doctor's Notes. And what this is, and Jesse is kind of aware of this a little bit, that they went around, the BBC America people have kind of direct messaged people on Twitter to see if they could use their tweets about various Doctor Who episodes throughout the past season or what have you. And they were going to use these, I guess, in another one of these like clip shows where they kind of like for those of you who used to watch like pop-up video on VH1.
Yes.
It's basically like that.
Yeah, Jason from the social...
Where you have these little factoids that pop up.
Right. And yeah, Jason from the social media team at BBC America, and had sent a message to myself and to Charles, basically saying, "We're airing a Doctor Who special in early 2016 featuring fan content from Whovians, and would love to feature your tweet linked below. But for us to consider use your tweet on air, please reply back with a confirmation message via tweet or DM. Thank you."
Yeah.
And
And you got the first one.
Yes.
And you told me about it. I thought, oh, that's awesome. You're going to be on the show.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then
Yes.
I got one.
Right.
And then I got another one where they said,
Oh, nice.
where they said, oh, can we use this one too? Do we have your permission? Okay. Yes, you can use my tweet on TV.
Yes.
So yes.
I had, because I had tweeted one about sign language being off the TARDIS translation program. And I had made a joke about who had deleted it. And but I hadn't thought about it at all, except I whipped Jason with BBC America saying, hey, you want to be on our Doctor Who podcast? He didn't ever answer.
Come on.
Yeah, so I'm watching this.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I see my co-host, my friend in Whoviness, Charles Skaggs, name on the big screen. Yeah, what tweet did they use?
They used this tweet. They actually took one of the two tweets that they asked permission for. This one in particular that made the commercial, which was kind of awesome, was that it's a tweet where earlier in this past season they were talking about the Doctor's new 2,000-year diary. And I made a comment on Twitter that the 2,000-year diary. I remember it when it was just a wee 500, and I posted a picture of Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor, with his 500-year diary, which the show was referencing during the time. So apparently that was the tweet they liked, and apparently they liked it enough to use it in the commercial for Doctor's Notes, which was just awesome. Because at least, if nothing else, I know it made the commercial, which was great.
Yes.
Which is great.
Yeah. I don't know if either one of us will get in an actual episode, but in a way, it's even better that one of us got on the commercial.
Yeah,
because they only showed a couple of tweets, right?
No, I was just like one of I think 3 people.
Yeah,
that got their tweets in that commercial. So that was just like, that's cool. That was
so.
I was excited.
Charles, have anyone reached out to you, or anyone you got any new followers, or
no. So yeah, I thought at least I'd get a couple. Maybe I'll get a couple of spam bots, but
yes.
But we'll see. Maybe it'll have a little bit more impact during the actual show. I'm sure people that it's just a commercial. They're probably tuning it out.
Right.
But and they're not like me, who was like tracking the commercial down online and then playing it and pausing it so I could take a still shot of my tweet on TV. But so I might be the only one doing that. But
well, when friend of the podcast and creator of our Next Stop Everywhere logo, which we will talk about in a few minutes, he wrote an episode of of Spider-Man. And so, when it was broadcast, I'm pausing it and taking a photo of the screen. So it'll say Tom Zoller, written by Tom Zoller. And today,
I believe he still has that as his wallpaper on Twitter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Which is awesome. I would too. So
yeah, I would be too. Yeah, it's like the I don't know if you get them up in Ohio, but there's a Miller Lite commercial with Troy Aikman going to a convenience store to buy a 12-pack, and everyone's like, "Oh!" And
we got that one.
Okay. Yeah, where he goes, "Yeah, I live in the past." Yeah. I don't blame you. So yeah, I was like, exactly right. That's hilarious. So good for you. Way to go, Charles.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully you will be there as well, and hopefully my other tweet will be on that as well. So so Next Stop Everywhere being represented on a BBC America special. How awesome is that, kids?
Yes. Also, today was the 3rd annual Bourbon Bowl. This is some friends of the family, and Lynn and I and Chris, we all go over. They either come to our house, or this year we went to Brandon and Courtney's house and for a Cowboy game, and we each bring a bottle of bourbon that we hadn't tried. And I don't drink a lot, but Linda and Brandon and Chris and Chris's friend Sherrod was with us today. They all were tasting bourbons, and Brandon is a huge Doctor Who fan, and so he was talking about, and later in the show, I have a question that I'm going to insert that we're going to put Charles, since he says Charles is the expert. Maybe he can explain this. I want Charles to explain it.
I'm not an expert. No.
And he was, but we were talking, and then after the Cowboys lost, of course, he pulled up the Christmas River song, and he was playing segments of it that were his favorite part. Like, hey, what do you think, Jesse? Isn't this great? So it was a very fun day, and we actually got delayed recording because not only were they having so much fun, and he did not want to stop talking Doctor Who, and he was like, "Can we just call from here? I'll just join you on the show." I said, "Well, we'll do that another time, Brandon. We'll have you on. That would be great."
Now you're kind of burying the lead a little bit because wasn't Brandon wearing something of note?
Yes, he was. If you will go to our Facebook page, Next Stop Everywhere, he had gotten a Next Stop Everywhere shirt, and he held up his Victory of the Daleks poster while shirking it. And so I just posted on our Facebook page, and he looked great in the shirt.
Yes, he did. Brandon, you looked awesome in the shirt. Thanks for so much for supporting the show.
Absolutely. So where could we get, if someone else wanted to get a shirt, where could they get it, Charles?
Why, they could go to TeePublic to get the official Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast T-shirt. And we've posted on our Facebook page. It's kind of pinned to the top of the page where you can click on the link, and it'll take you directly to the TeePublic page where you can order the Next Stop Everywhere shirt. We recommend the royal blue, but you can get it in any color you want, and you don't even have to get it on a t-shirt. You can get it on all kinds of stuff there. But yeah, it'd be cool. And if you do get a shirt, please send us a picture. Either you can send it to us on Facebook or on Twitter or what have you, and or email it to our email address, and then we'll definitely post it up on the Facebook page, and give you your props, because if you support our show, if you're kind enough to do that, we will support you.
Absolutely. And the right now the t-shirts are only costing $14. So I don't know how long. Yes.
Take advantage of that bargain.
Absolutely. So yes, it was nice to see Brandon in the shirt, and it was nice to hear he had enjoyed, and he had saved every episode. He has AT&T Universe, and he has every episode of the new season saved. And I'm like, "Have you not watched them?" He goes, "Oh no, I've watched them all. I don't want to delete them until the box set came out in case I need to see one." I'm like, "Brandon, you are a good man."
He is a good. That's how you do it, kids.
Yep, absolutely.
Totally approve.
Okay, let's talk about the Husbands of River Song.
Yeah.
Quick thoughts.
I thought that this special, it was it's a little off-putting at first for me.
Okay.
But eventually it settles down and comes up. The back half is a very great story. It's a fitting end to the River Song storyline, which has kind of been woven throughout the past 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctors. So I just even though it's that little kind of like rompy craziness, little campiness at first, and if don't give up on it, just hang in there, and you'll actually get a really decent little story out of it.
Yeah, one of the reviews I read said that it was almost, 2 episodes in one. The first 40 minutes was this random screwball comedy, and then you get a very touching kind of close the loop on the end of River Song.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that I've watched it twice,
Right.
and both times at the end, I have tears in my eyes. Old sentimental Jesse.
Right.
It
You old
is,
softy.
yes, indeed, really, really nice. Um,
Yeah, I think
so,
Moffat's kind of catering, because this is the Christmas special where you spend it with
yeah,
your family.
hmm,
He's kind of writing something for the kids, the
yes,
younger viewers, and
hmm,
then with the romping in the comedy, and then it kind of evolves into something for the adults later on in the episode.
do um, do you feel? I felt the weight, and not to give away one of our quotes, but I felt the weight of, there was a chance this was the last Doctor Who episode he was going to write.
Yes,
And
yeah, from what I read, this was originally supposed to be Moffat's last script.
right.
And then originally it was supposed to air a while back,
Hmm.
and then whatever circumstances he decided to stay on, so this story kind of got pushed back,
Yeah.
and now here we are. Now the question is, well, is Moffat coming back next season?
Hmm.
Or because there's been rumors that there will be a new showrunner, or will he decide, well, that's not going to be my last story, and continue
Yeah.
on through series 10.
Yes. Um, there is and it, kind of one of the things I wanted to talk about with you
Hmm.
is did you recognize when she mentions the planet? Did you immediately, in your super Whovian brain, do the connection?
Not at first.
Okay.
It felt a little familiar, and it was one of those
Okay.
things where it's kind of nagging at you,
Okay.
like, okay, I remember something like about this, but it wasn't quite clicking for me. And
Mm.
then when she's talking about, that, uh, they talk about where they see the two towers,
Yes.
and the whole, like, that they're singing the singing towers.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it. This is where, yeah, okay." And this is like, "Oh yeah, this is what leads up to silence in the library."
Right.
And so yeah, it kind of puts it's kind of like this episode felt like the missing piece to the River Song puzzle for the
Hmm.
most part. I'm sure there are other missing pieces that could be put in, so
Yeah.
they could figure out a way to, like, tell stories and more stories with River before she was killed,
Yes.
due to the whole timey-wimey nature. But
Right.
if they don't, and this is Alex Kingston's last hurrah on television as River Song, then I think it's a good one.
Yes. So, what I understand is, based on what I've read,
Hmm.
she talks about in her first appearance as this character, right? That the last time she'd seen the doctor, he had a new suit, a hair, and a snappy suit, a new haircut,
Hmm.
and she took them for the final night, right? And they talk about he was crying and he wouldn't tell me why.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she did talk about that they had just been, the maitre d character, was talking about, oh, you were just in Manhattan, where's that planet? So that gives you a very clear direction of where she had been, the last time she'd seen the doctor.
Right.
And
I actually kind of, like, mapped out her timeline.
okay.
If we want to go through that, or we can go through it
Please.
later.
No. I think now's a good time to do it.
Okay.
Which steals one of my favorite quotes, right? Where he says, "I'm going to need a bigger flowchart."
That was a great one. Yeah,
Yes.
I laughed at that pretty hard, because to understand Rivers Song's timeline, you pretty much do need a flowchart.
Hmm.
But here's kind of like as much as abbreviated as I could get it.
Yes.
So we start off with River, where she's born as Melody pond
Right.
in A Good Man Goes to War.
Yes.
And then she's a kid in The Impossible Planet Day of the Moon, where
Right.
she's taken and, she's put in that little astronaut suit, what have you, initially,
Okay.
the first time. And then she ends up regenerating at the end of the episode, remember?
Yes.
And then where we find out later, she regenerated into Mel's.
Right.
Um,
And we don't know how she got from New York into England.
right.
And who took care of her when she was Mel's.
Yeah, and how
like
she
the
hooked up
family.
with, like, she tracked down, apparently she tracked down young
Yeah.
Amelia Pond, became her best friend as Mel's in Let's Kill Hitler,
Right.
and then grew up, then regenerated again into the final form that we know and love of Alex
Yes.
Kingston. And then we had Closing Time, the end of it, where she's just become Professor Riversong, and she's abducted to be put in that that astronaut suit so that she can kill the doctor in The Impossible Astronaut again. So we kind of go back to The Impossible Astronaut after that.
Yes.
And then we have River and the Doctor getting married in the wedding of River Song. Then after that is the Pandorica opens and the Big Bang.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the crash of the Byzantium in the time of Angels, Flesh and Stone. And then we have River, her final adventure with her parents, at least as far as we know, in The Angels Take Manhattan. Then we go to this episode, The Husbands of River Song. And then this leads, of course, into Silence of the Library, Forest of the Dead, where she is killed and then saved into the mainframe there as a data ghost. And then we see her kind of like almost in an epilogue in The Name of the Doctor.
Right.
So that's what I've got. So that kind of makes sense as a timeline.
And
that's a stripped down version.
Yeah, we should post that on the Facebook page in case anyone wants to kind of do a
follow
kind of a follow, and also maybe to kind of watch those episodes.
Right.
I wasn't able to find online the little that are on the box set, the little bitty ones, the last night, or the little
the mini episodes. Yeah, they're there too. But I left those out. But those were actually referenced in this episode here.
Yes, they were.
So where she's talking about stealing the Doctor's TARDIS when he's not. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll keep pushing to this. Should River have recognized the Doctor sooner, do you think?
I think so. Okay. I think for some reason Stephen Moffat dumbed down River a little bit in this episode. At least that's the feeling I got. River to this point has been like, okay, I'm Little Miss Know-It-All. I'm almost a Mary Sue for him.
Yes.
That she's better than the Doctor. She's smarter than the Doctor. She can work the TARDIS better than the Doctor. But for some reason, in this episode, she doesn't recognize him. So the woman who supposedly knows him best.
So, Charles, I have a question for you. There's been a little bit of ranting online, about the Mary Suing of some of the Star Wars characters.
Yeah.
So can you, in your own Charles-like way, explain what a Mary Sue is and kind of give that why you think in a little bit, that there's a touch of that in River Song?
Yeah. There was a little controversy because the son of a noted director basically called out Rey from Star Wars The Force Awakens as a Mary Sue.
Okay.
Who is, in his mind, a character that is absolutely perfect and has no flaws and outshines all the other characters.
Now, what is a Mary Sue, Charles?
But a Mary
for those of us who, okay.
All right. Originally, it was the story was that this character called Mary Sue featured in a piece of Star Trek fan fiction,
Okay.
written by a female writer,
Okay.
where the character, and it's just a very short story. Supposedly, this female character kind of outshines the male members of the crew in Star Trek.
Okay.
So that was initially taken as okay, it's a character who has never been revealed until now that apparently can do better than the crew. Usually,
Okay.
usually female, written by a female writer.
Okay.
Well, now people are just redefining that definition into
Okay.
any female character that has any kind of skill
Okay.
that just happens to be more skill than the male characters, which I think is
Okay.
completely wrong and a little bit sexist, actually quite
Right.
a lot sexist, really.
So I guess a little bit of this is based on in fan fiction where you're writing yourself in and you're writing almost a better version of yourself, right?
Right,
To a
exactly.
certain degree?
Yeah, yeah. And,
Okay.
and River kind of qualifies a little bit. And there's been a lot of people have made the River song Mary Sue arguments because
Yeah.
because of River doing better than the Doctor.
Right.
That she pilots the TARDIS better.
Right.
She's always complaining that he leaves the brakes on because he's a man who doesn't know how to operate the TARDIS properly.
Right. Right.
So it's essentially like, and Moffat seems to write he likes to write strong women that are sassy, and apparently that they seem to know more than the Doctor.
Mhm.
The Doctor has to be clueless around them.
Right.
So he kind of gets relegated to a most supporting character role, especially when River's there. So a lot of people have made that argument, and that's debatable. I don't want to say one way or the other.
No, and I certainly think everyone is entitled to their opinion.
Right.
I kind of feel like, and maybe because I'm biased, I really like the River character.
Right.
I feel like in a lot of ways she's the closest we've come to a female Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly love that because she isn't perfect.
Right.
And I don't think she is. I think she's just really good at certain things.
She has confidence.
Yes.
And she exudes confidence. Like
Right.
and a little bit of arrogance.
Right.
But so does the Doctor.
Yes.
Which is why they're kind of suited to each other, because
Absolutely.
they're essentially the same type of character.
Right. And so I
Yeah.
don't remember how we got on this tangent,
I'm just gonna say here in
Yeah.
the Husbands of River song, Moffat flips that a bit
Yeah.
because now it's all of a sudden River's the clueless one.
Right.
The Doctor knows what's going on,
Mhm.
and and he kind of has fun with that at first.
Yeah.
Like she, for whatever reason, doesn't realize that the TARDIS it won't work, refuses to work when that Hydroflax's head is in the TARDIS, but his body is outside the TARDIS.
Right.
And it won't take off well. So so he kind of has fun with that, and he does, he has fun with the bigger on the inside, and which is a great moment.
I was going to ask your take on that.
Yeah, well, I want to save that.
Okay, very nice.
For later, but
I do think that, and I'm going to forgive Stephen Moffat, not that he's asking for my forgiveness,
right?
But I think he enjoyed the fact that for up until Let's Kill Hitler, the River Song character knew more than the Doctor.
Right.
And now then the Doctor knows more than River Song.
Right.
He knows what's happening.
He was having fun with the with turning things around.
Yes.
And playing against the original idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I do think it made for a nice moment or two where the doctor is actually feeling a little, well, is this what River is like when I'm not there?
Right.
And maybe she doesn't have the same affection for me as I have for her.
Hmm.
Maybe she's playing me.
Right.
But I think back of the scene in Notting Hill where the Hugh Grant character has the speakers on, and the Julia Roberts talks about, oh, he's nobody important, and he's all hurt. And then she later says, why would I tell my business to one of the biggest gossips in England?
Right.
So, I could tell that River is going to hold her feelings to herself.
Right.
And then later, when she is stuck and when she goes on her rant
Hmm.
about loving sunset or something and how the doctor is,
Hmm.
I think that's her true feelings for the doctor, that she, and which is very much in place with the scene in The Angels Take Manhattan when she says, when you love a god who puts a kid, puts on a child face, there is that pain
Hmm.
because he doesn't like endings.
Yeah.
So I agree with you a little bit. I think
Yeah.
she's a little denser than I would want her to be. And
See,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I had no problem with River not knowing initially,
Yeah.
but I just thought it kind of dragged on a little too long.
Okay.
For me, I thought that River is a clever character, so
Right.
I would think that, I mean, she spent a lot of time with the doctor
Yeah.
over the years, and
Mhm.
centuries. So I would think that she would be able to pick up on, if nothing else, maybe looking into his eyes and seeing,
Yes.
oh my God, it's the same man, and realizing it eventually. But
Yeah.
he's throwing blatant hint after blatant hint at her,
Absolutely.
and she's just oblivious for the apparent reason that, um, that, oh well, I've met all or all 12 doctors,
Right.
so therefore you couldn't possibly be the doctor because you're not in my wallet of photos.
Right. Yeah. And especially when she looks at number 10
Hmm.
and she says, oh, how young you are.
Right.
So yes, I think that in a lot of ways, and it's a minor nitpick. Just wanted to get your feelings on it. Um, did you enjoy the humor of the episode, the kind of slapstick, manic,
Yeah.
part of the episode?
Um, as a traditional fan, it
Yeah,
didn't, like, it's kind of hard because I realize it's a Christmas special. I
right,
realize it's going to be lighter in tone. A lot of the Christmas specials have been. This is no different from the other Christmas specials, in my
right.
opinion. Anybody that's watched, The Runaway Bride, or, like a Christmas Carol, or, The Doctor, The Widow, and the Wardrobe, um, knows that, especially Moffat has a penchant for, these kind of wackiness in the Christmas specials, and then
Yeah,
it will have like some serious, meaty content for fans to really savor and enjoy. But
hmm,
so this one was no different. It wasn't, like, it didn't seem to, it did seem a little jarring because you did have kind of one, as you said earlier, you've got one type of story at the beginning and then you have another type of story at the end.
yeah,
But like I said, I think he's trying to appeal to, like, younger and older viewers at the same time. So he was just trying to balance that, I think.
yeah.
Because he probably wanted
I,
to tell this very heavy story, and then he's like, "Well, I don't want to make this all depressing,
hmm,
so I'm going to throw some jokes in here
yeah.
as well." And it's great to see Peter Capaldi and Alex Kingston bantering back and forth, which I'm kind of wondering what you thought of them interacting as opposed to, say, Alex with Matt Smith or Alex with David Tennant.
Um, I'm glad you asked, Charles.
Thank you.
Uh,
I threw a
yeah,
question on you. Ha
yeah.
ha.
Eh, I liked it a great deal, and partly because um, I I felt like that this doctor, the
Mhm.
12th Doctor, has that weariness and the
Gravitas.
yes of to handle this kind of um, dramatic ending,
Hmm.
and I do think he sold the fact. I think they both had great chemistry together,
I
and
do
I
too.
think she and they sold the fact that in her mind, this is her. This is the doctor, and
Mhm.
this is, um, if not the only love of her life, the main love of her life. I do believe that she is um, believes in an open marriage, shall we say, right?
Well, that much is obvious by the
Yes,
fact that this
yeah.
is called the husbands plural of River Song. Yeah.
I like that, and so um, as I said, I the scene on the balcony
Hmm.
where she is saying, you're crying. No, it's the wind. It's not the wind. And
Hmm.
I expect you to figure out a way to take care of this.
Right.
And we know that in a way, he does figure out a way at the last minute because of the screwdriver and her putting her in
Right.
the library and, where she has a version of eternal life.
Right.
Um,
And we know that, and now that the screwdriver was given to her by him,
yes.
so obviously he knew to put that recorder inside,
Another
which
bootstrap.
exactly, it's a bootstrap paradox because he
Yes.
knew, because his 10th exact very good point, that his
Yeah.
10th incarnation
Yes.
saw or found the recorder in there. So
Yes.
therefore, the 12th Doctor knew to put the recorder in there when he gave the sonic screwdriver to River for her to use back
Yeah.
with his 10. So yeah, it's all circular, and it's the exact
Timey
thing that
wimey, and it's
timey-wimey things that Moffat loves to death.
yeah, and but because there is that feeling, right, that
Hmm.
that is a great moment when River is dying, and and the 10th Doctor is sitting there going, "Why would I have given her a screwdriver? Why would I have given her a screwdriver?" And oh my God! And he runs and he gets that.
Hmm.
Um,
And he
and then
realizes what he because
yes,
what he would have done, or what
yeah,
his future incarnation will do.
right,
Mhm.
and so, and I knew, which by the way, Brandon said, you got to talk about the Sonic Trowel. You got to talk about the Sonic Trowel. But
Do
when
you
I
know how
saw this,
ridiculous that sounds?
I knew that this episode, well, let's put it this way, I would have been disappointed
Hmm.
if he had not given her the screwdriver.
Right.
I mean, I was like, okay, that's, you know, I I
It's
want to hear,
it's Christmas. You
yeah,
know, you got to have a gift.
yeah, and I want to hear. I've got a bad feeling about this
Hmm.
in a Star Wars movie. I wanted to hear this going. So yeah, I was very pleased with that, and um, so part of me is greedy
Right.
and would love to see. I love the idea that this night
Hmm.
lasts, you
24
know,
years.
24 years,
Right.
which is a long time.
And can have plenty of adventures in 24
Absolutely.
years. Right.
Absolutely. And it does go,
Hmm.
the whole, eh, reminds me a little bit of Amazing Grace. The line, like, when we've been there 10,000 years,
Hmm.
it'd be like we just begun. So 24 years in an internal would be a night, but that is in a lot of ways a lifetime that they get to spend together. Um, Not being timey wimey,
Hmm.
just they could do whatever they wanted. But I I would be okay if we don't see River again.
I totally feel you on this. I as endings go, this is a good one for River. I think it would be a
Yeah.
good place to just kind of like, okay, we've had her story.
Yes.
We can move on now. We've kind of sewn things up pretty well.
Yeah.
There's not any really glaring plot points that need to be addressed now that she's
Yeah.
gotten the screwdriver and she's headed off to the library.
Yeah.
So, but the yeah, it's you just love Alex Kingston as River Song. You'd love to see
Right.
her more. Now she is doing Big Finish audios.
Yes.
So for those who don't know, she's doing a series called The Diary of River Song,
Yes.
her own series, and then she's going to be appearing in the upcoming Eighth Doctor audio set called Doom Coalition 2.
Yes.
I just recently listened to Doom Coalition 1, so it's going to be coming out soon, probably at the beginning of 2016. But I know she's going to be in that. I don't know how much, but
Hmm.
I'm sure she's going to be in there, and it's going to be just great to hear her with Paul McGann.
Yes.
So there's no reason why we couldn't have River. Supposedly she's met them all, so we could potentially have River meet the older doctors, like the Fifth Doctor, the Sixth Doctor, even the Fourth Doctor, maybe.
Yeah.
How great would it be to have River Song and the Fourth Doctor, Tom Baker?
That would be lovely. So I guess I want to make sure I'm throwing it out there correctly.
Mm-hmm.
If we get more River Song,
Yeah.
because I love Alex Kingston and that performance, I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't, I don't feel like Firefly was canceled mid
Right.
story.
You don't feel robbed.
No, I do not. That is the best way to put it, Charles. I do not feel robbed. I feel like, no, she got a good send off.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good cry, and they told the story. And you could, as you went through very well, you could watch those 10 or 12 episodes. I didn't count how many, but and you could see, River's arc and watch them in that order.
Yeah, you could have a River Song marathon and kind of follow through her timeline.
Yes.
If you wanted to, or you could follow it from the Doctor's timeline, whichever you want. But yeah, it's there, and you can. It's definitely open, and
yeah. So how did you hear? Well, first off,
mm-hmm.
why is the Doctor just hanging out on this planet? I don't understand why the TARDIS, you can just be in space floating around, because I did like the sign, carolers will be criticized.
Right.
He just believes in saying, sure, I'll go do adventures, right?
Well, remember, he does have the TARDIS. And the TARDIS tends to take him not where he wants to go, but where he needs to go.
Yes.
So maybe the TARDIS decided he needed to go here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. So many. Okay.
That's my little hand wave explanation. Yeah, the TARDIS brought him there.
Okay.
Maybe he didn't directly intend to go there, or maybe it's just a wacky coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to be a little more realistic about it, the TARDIS could have brought him there.
Okay. Okay, I like that. I think that works.
That's my elegant solution.
Okay, very nice. Did we any thoughts on King Hydroflax and the rotating heads and kind of everything being broadcast, where she's over, the River is overacting. Oh, my glorious leader.
Yeah, she's really hamming it up. The thing I liked about the Hydroflax thing, there wasn't much, but I like the fact that, okay, River's working this guy.
Yes.
She's after the diamond that's in his head.
Mm-hmm.
Hydroflax's head, I should specify. And so she's got her ulterior motive, which is fitting for River.
Yes.
And now the whole thing where, she's in the doctor kind of picks up on this because it's like, well, it's River. She's just working this guy. So
Hmm.
he knows her. He's not fooled by it. And it's kind of funny to see the doctor with all these various husbands. He doesn't, you notice he doesn't get like overtly jealous or mad.
Right.
He just kind of rolls his eyes and is like, "Oh, really?" and then moves on. But he knows River, or at least he knows how River's going to be. He doesn't feel threatened, I don't think.
Hmm.
He's just more annoyed that she would have this kind of secret thing going on without telling him, I'm guessing.
Yes.
So he's more annoyed by that effect that he's not in on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he does have that. He does have the kind of,
Blase.
hey, I'm right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Now, I do think that for all the denseness
Hmm.
and everything, it was worth it to me for her to have that realization and look over to him when she's having a rant,
Right.
and he has, hello, sweetie.
That was delivered so perfectly. And
Yes.
yeah. And how great is it, yeah, that have the doctor kind of throw it, not really throwing, but using River's
Yeah.
words back at her. Like,
Yes.
normally she's the one who knows, and she's the one who can like go, aha, see what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, now it's the doctor who can go, oh, guess what? It's me. Hi, honey. I'm back.
And I also loved that when they're on the balcony and just
With the
such a
light,
sad talk, and when he
yeah,
goes, spoilers.
right. Hmm.
Just so awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And like you
Yeah.
said, Capaldi has that gravitas to
Yeah.
really sell that. And because, it's been 2 doctors since David Tennant,
Hmm.
so he's got even more as far as the audience is concerned. They've had that journey with the doctor. So those words kind of have more weight than they would if, say, David Tennant delivered them.
Absolutely. I think so.
Nothing on Tennant. It's just where we are in the doctor's timeline. It
I
matters.
totally agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the tragedy of what's coming up next for River.
Yes. I do think that is really interesting. I love the cross arms discussion.
Yeah. My arms are very crossed. So he's got cross arms and he's got attack eyebrows.
Yes.
So his body is just ready to fight.
Hmm. Yes, it is. And they, I love that River tends to steal the TARDIS when he's not using
Yeah.
it, right, and goes back and forth. So I thought that was really nice. What else do we need to talk about this in the episode?
Let's see. I think we talked about quite a bit, but
Yes.
the let's see. Well, we talked about all right. Well, we talked about the seeing towers.
Hmm.
So I guess I don't think we have anything
Yeah,
else.
because according to once again, Doctor Who, 10 things you may not know about. I love this website. I love every time they do it.
I have to read it just because I know you read it. So
Yeah.
I have to know what you're talking about.
The last time I saw you, you turned up on my doorstep with a new haircut and a suit. You took me to Delirium to see the Singing Towers.
Mhm.
What a night that was. The towers sang and you cried. You wouldn't tell me why, but I suppose you knew it was my time. You even gave me your screwdriver. That should have been a clue.
Right.
And I think how nice that they tie it all back together.
Yeah.
It makes for a very satisfying Christmas present to us as fans,
Right.
and really, really just lovely.
Now, what did you think of that little bit at the end where the words come up and they both live happily ever after, and then the ever after fades away? so that it says, and they both lived happily.
Mm-hmm. And then they got away, and then it was just happily.
Yeah.
Um, so that was one of the things that Brandon played at his house today, and
Yeah.
he wanted to know your opinion. So I'll give mine first since you asked.
Okay.
I believe that, she mentioned, he said there is no such thing as a happily ever after.
Right.
And she says, yes, it is. It just means time. But you don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think their point was, I think they did that to make the point that they had their 24 years
Mm-hmm.
of happily ever after, and then he had to move on and she had to go on to live her life. And we don't know how long it is between this and before she shows up at the library.
Right, exactly. Because just after these 24 hours, there could be a whole bunch of other things that happen before she goes to the library. We
Right.
don't know.
But he knows that's the last time he's going to see her.
Right.
Yes.
She could go off and have her own adventure. She could live for another 100 years for all we know before
Right.
she.
Absolutely.
Because we find out she's lived 200 years.
Yes.
But so yeah, she could live for another 100 years. Just she doesn't see the doctor again until the library.
Yeah. So that is my take on it. What was your take on it?
No, that's something that I totally agree with that take. I think that's a good take. The doctor tries to downplay it. He's saying that. I got it written down here. What is it? They says there's no such thing as happily ever after.
Right.
He does his every Christmas is last Christmas thing.
Yes.
So he's trying to downplay it a little bit and say, look, this is kind of how it is. You know that, I know that. It's just something you're going to have to experience. But he doesn't, he knows that River gets saved into the library mainframe.
Yes.
So she does kind of get a happily ever after with her friends.
Yes.
That are also in there.
Right.
So it's not like that, but he can't tell her that because it hasn't happened to her yet.
Exactly.
So, so even though he's trying to downplay it, he's knows that she will eventually have an happily ever after.
Yes, he will. So how about it? You got some quotes for me?
Yeah. Well, do you want to give our ratings first?
Yes, so we can do the ratings. I'm going to go sentimental, and I'm going to do 10 singing towers. I just love this episode.
You really liked it.
I love this episode. I guess, and I'm really grading on a curve the ending. I think I would give it a 7 or 8 on if I did, just the kind of slapstick and kind of 40s manic beginning, but the ending, I'd give it a 12 or a 14. So I'm going to give it a 10 just because it'd
be very fitting if you gave it a 12.
Yes, it would. Exactly. I love the way they wrote this ending. I love how they put the pieces together and made it all fit. And I realize that if you have the answers, you can write a story to admit that. But they did it well, and it wasn't awkward, and it wasn't. There was not as much hand waving as sometimes you have to do to make it.
Right.
So yeah, I'm really, really happy with this, and it's a great way to end the 2015 Whovian experience.
Yep.
And really looking forward to tomorrow night. See it at the.
I was going to say, I'm going to go see it with Lori at the movie theater tomorrow night. So I didn't know if you were, but that's awesome that you are too as well.
And we both should take pictures of us wearing our Next Stop Everywhere shirts.
I was debating about if I'm going to wear the Peter Capaldi shirt. I am, but if you're going to wear yours, I will wear.
I will wear mine too, and we'll send the pictures.
We got to promote the show. So yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, sounds good. So I give this one. I'm a little less generous than you. I did not hate this episode at all. So right off the bat, but that first half,
I hear you.
it did jar me. So I gave it 8.5 out of 10, and like I said, that's mostly because of the first half.
I understand.
Second half I loved, but I give it 8.5 hidden bottles of Aldebaran brandy. And for those who don't get that reference,
Please share.
okay,
Charles.
this was the reference where in this episode, River goes to one of the TARDIS roundels, and she removes it or opens it, and there's some like hidden brandy back in there that apparently she put in there.
Yes.
And Aldebaran brandy is a reference to the restaurant at the end of the universe, written by my favorite author, Douglas Adams.
Yes.
So I just thought that was cool, and
that was very cool.
Any Douglas Adams reference, I appreciate.
And she get that shh, don't tell Daddy, so that's very nice.
Because she doesn't know it's him.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was great. So quotes.
I did not write as many. I love the episode. I watched it last night and did not stop and make a lot of notes. I just enjoyed it on, Christmas night. And then yesterday when I watched it again, I was worried I was going to run out of time. So I do have, I'm going to need a bigger flow chart, which was a great line.
Yep.
This almost sounds like, and I don't want to get political, but the Doctor almost sounds, he could be a politician with his, my back's playing up. Yes. It simply refuses to carry the weight of an entirely pointless stratum of society who contribute nothing of worth to the world and crush the hopes and dreams of working people.
I love that. That was one of my quotes, and I thought, I thought that was great.
Absolutely. So please tell me, Charles, that you took the time to write down his version of "It's Bigger on the Inside."
Why, yes, I have it right here.
Yes, Christmas is saved.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, no. I transcribed this probably about half an hour before we started recording this. So yeah, glad I did. Okay, so here we go. Oh my God!
Okay, before we even start, we haven't talked about this, and but I love.
You just threw my rhythm off.
Okay, we're gonna make you start over.
No, go ahead.
I just before we talk about, I love his overacting.
Yes,
and this gleeful. Well, and the Doctor. You know how hard it is to act while acting, to play that.
A character within a character, yeah.
Yes, and this whole joy that he has, like, oh, really?
He goes completely over the top. He tries to sell this line because it's something he's been wanting to do for centuries, probably.
Absolutely. So, okay.
So
there's the scene. He's walking in the TARDIS.
Good. Now, River's at the console.
Yes.
And he's, as far as she knows, he's just some guy.
Right.
Entering the TARDIS for the first time.
Yes.
So he's just like, ha, ha, ha. Now I can do this the way I want to do it.
Yes.
I've been waiting for this.
Here we go.
So,
action.
So, oh my God. Ha! It's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. My entire understanding of physical space has been transformed. Three-dimensional Euclidean geometry has been torn up, thrown in the air, and snogged to death. My grasp of the universal constants of physical reality has been changed forever. Sorry, I've always wanted to see that done properly.
That was just awesome. It was just so wonderful. So, yes.
Yeah, I love that little nod to the camera. He's looking at us when he's supposedly looking at River.
Absolutely.
But really, he's looking at us to say that.
Yes.
That last bit. So I just thought Capaldi was perfect. And that scene was so hilarious. I just died. I rolled at that.
I did too. Anything other quotes?
Well, the only other thing I have is the every night is the last night for something. Every Christmas is last Christmas. There's no such thing as happy ever after. It's just a lie we tell ourselves because the truth is so hard.
I loved River had some nice things too.
Mm-hmm.
Loving the sunset. You don't expect the sunset to love you back.
Mm-hmm.
And I did love how the doctor kind of picked at her a little bit.
Yeah.
When and she's like, "Oh, I was just trying to impress him." Just absolutely wonderful. Um, we're going to do reverse the polarity, but um, I'm going to play a question Brandon asked you,
Okay.
and then I'm going to see what you think.
Okay. I mean,
So,
I'm needing a translator that's
yes,
non-bourbon influenced.
absolutely. So, all right, I'm going to play the recording. Insert recording here, Jesse. All right. So, if I could repeat what Brandon is asking,
Mm-hmm.
his question is in the episode this season where Missy puts Claire in a Dalek,
Mm-hmm.
and she's not really a Dalek, she's just in the Dalek,
Yeah.
that everything she said was translated into Dalek speak.
Right.
But when the Impossible Girl, the Souffle Girl,
Yeah.
was actually a Dalek,
Yeah.
she was able to say things not in Dalek speak. She was able to say, "I'm not a Dalek,"
Mm-hmm.
or because he actually played that episode,
Yeah.
did things. So he wanted to know your take on: did they just bend the rules a little bit, or was it because and we don't understand Souffle Girl, we don't understand the Impossible Girl.
Right.
Was she, because she was this figment, was she able to resist the Dalek programming and kind of speak because she didn't know she was a Dalek?
Right. Okay, my answer to that, first off, is to point out that Stephen Moffat wrote both of those episodes,
Yes.
Asylum of the Daleks and the Magician's Apprentice, The Witch's Familiar.
Right.
So if Moffat's contradicting something, he's contradicting himself, which I think is kind of funny.
Right.
The situation with the Clara Dalek, or actually the Oswin Dalek, because it's not really Clara.
Yes.
It could be, and I'm not just, I don't know. I think personally, I think he screwed up.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
Is that in the rules of this discussion?
Yeah.
In real world, I think he wanted to reveal that Oswin was a Dalek, and he wanted that big reveal.
Right.
So that's why he had her just talking normal, looking through the porthole. So there's clues that she was a Dalek, but you wouldn't know that.
Right.
So I agree with you.
And Moffat tends to play fast and loose with the rules.
Yes.
Fast and loose with the rules when it suits him.
Absolutely. And I also agree.
Writer's prerogative.
Yeah, you should not let continuity and necessarily the rules stop you from telling the best story possible.
Right.
I think we as an audience should be forgiving of that to a certain degree. I mean, I will tell you, when I went and saw Up and Away, and that they had the colors of kryptonite all wrong in the play, I had a big problem with that. But I think I was the only person in the room that was concerned, like, okay, you know what? White kryptonite doesn't kill you, Superman.
Yes. Yeah.
Just get it right. But anyway.
But no, I can't explain this.
Yes.
Just because I can come up with something and make it up to explain it.
Right.
My explanation of this would be that the Oswin Dalek was an actual Dalek.
Right.
That originally was Oswin Oswald, a splinter from Clara being fractured through time into this Oswin character, Souffle Girl. But she was turned into a Dalek.
Right.
And the difference of that is an actual Dalek versus Clara, who was a human inside a Dalek that had been programmed by the Master.
Okay.
So my explanation is that the master specifically programmed the Dalek to say those phrases.
Fair enough.
That's
I
how
think,
that's how I
yeah.
would get out of it.
And I think that is a good answer.
But actually, I think Moffat screwed up.
Yeah. Okay. But I think that you win a no prize.
Yay
Yes.
for you Marvel Comics fans out there.
Absolutely. Very nice. Okay. Um, do you have a reverse the polarity for us?
Why, yes, I do. And you
Yay!
could probably guess which one I'm doing.
I've given up trying to guess.
All right. So we're gonna go back to 2008 for Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead, which seems very fitting because this kind of brings everything with River Song full circle since this story. And this is these are the 8th and 9th episodes from Series 4, 2008, also written by Stephen Moffat, because Stephen Moffat wrote every River Song episode.
Mm-hmm.
So arriving in the 51st century to visit the greatest library in the universe, the 10th Doctor and Donna Noble encounter a team of archaeologists led by, surprise, Professor River Song, who are there to discover why the library sealed itself 100 years earlier. Now, River, of course, acts like she knows the Doctor, which she does from her perspective. She has this diary decorated like the TARDIS, as well as her own sonic screwdriver. But to gain the Doctor's trust, she whispers his real name to him and then eventually sacrifices herself to save him. The Doctor, meanwhile, recovered her data ghost from a recorder hidden in her sonic screwdriver and then uploaded her pattern before it dissipated. And as we mentioned, that the river during this episode references Beryllium and the Singing Towers, which of course get explained in the Husbands of River Song. So it seemed like a natural episode to go back to. So if you love the Husbands of River Song, definitely check out Silence in the Library. It's a great story.
It is, and I think especially, I think most of us have seen that, but I do think it would be something really good to see.
A rewatch.
Yeah, a rewatch to kind of enjoy this.
Mm-hmm.
From a perspective of
now that you've had this puzzle,
yes,
laid out for you, now to go back and go, oh, that's it. That's the moment. Yes.
I think that's going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
Very nice. Cool. Hey, who's calling me?
It's probably Stephen Moffat.
Yes, it is. We've already talked about the Doctor Who pop-up episodes. What are they calling them?
Oh, Doctor's Notes.
Doctor's Notes.
And they air on BBC in January. I think it's January 30th, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But if nothing else, I posted the trailer on Next Stop Everywhere Facebook page, so you can check it out, get the actual date in case I'm wrong. But yeah, you might see some tweets from both Jesse and myself.
Yes, and one of the things I love is when we watch classic episodes and I get the DVD sets from Ken Schaefer, is there is an info text one to kind of watch with it. So I think this will be good to see. So I'm excited about that. And, it's always a good chance to watch the Doctor. So we have no new Doctor to talk about till late next year, correct?
Yeah, we have no idea when the show is coming back, or if the show is coming back in 2016, but hopefully it will.
Yeah, because
presumably sometime in September.
Yeah,
I'm guessing, but
which is it was late this year.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it was. Originally it was August, and then now we got moved back. So, so who knows when we'll get it? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, we still have to get the announcement of a new companion. So I wouldn't even worry about the show coming back, at least until we get that announcement of a new companion, because they're going to have to announce it before they start filming on location. So eventually that'll come out.
Okay. Do you think they have someone in mind and they just haven't told us yet?
I would hope so. I would hate to
Okay.
think that they have no clue, and because that would just delay everything further. So
Okay.
I'm hoping they've already cast whom they want to cast. They're probably just waiting till after the holidays, and everybody's
Okay.
attention's kind of focused back on things before
Okay.
announcing it. At least that's what I hope.
Okay.
Hopefully, it won't be too long.
That is right. So, Charles, what are our thoughts we're going to do in this off season?
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is, as last time after we discussed Series 8, that we ended up going back and covering some previous episodes. So I think we're going to do the same thing again. But next episode is going to be episode 50. So I think we should do something a little special for episode 50. So I was suggesting that we do the Day of the Doctor, the 50th anniversary special for our 50th episode.
I think that is a great idea.
Maybe we should
And
try and round up a couple of special guests too.
yes, I think that would be a lot of fun to do. And so we're hoping to make that happen in the next couple of weeks. As you guys have known, I have started a new job. And so I'm not as flexible on when I get to record. But we are going to try to do something. Our hope is to do it every other week, maybe versus every week.
Right.
But that way we keep some feed coming.
Mhm.
Charles has sent a list today of some great classic episodes for us to look at.
Yep.
That'll get us through a couple of months at least. We may do more guest stars where they pick an episode. That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And so we may do that again.
That's
Uh,
we're not
I've
leaving
been-
you. We're not leaving you in the lurch, people. We're gonna
No,
actually. We're
not at
coming
all.
up. We're still having content.
Absolutely.
You're not
And
getting rid of us that easily.
we may be fun to have a couple of guest stars on to kind of talk this whole season in a kind of review and visit that. That might be fun too.
Right.
So, and we want to know what the listeners want to hear. They should tell us, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you've got an episode you'd like to see us cover that we haven't already covered,
Yes.
drop us a line on Facebook or on Twitter and let us know.
Yeah.
So we're not afraid to give you what you want. So let us know.
Hey, and I'm even open if there is an episode we didn't care about very much
Right.
or we liked a lot and you want us to review. Hey, we'll play that too. We
Yep.
are open.
And that also includes Big Finish audios, because we are going to do a
Yes.
couple of Big Finish audios as we eventually cover the Eighth Doctor and the War Doctor. The War Doctor.
Yes.
Yeah, won't that be interesting?
What else are you doing, Charles? How can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter, which apparently is like BBC America pays attention, at least,
Yeah.
to at Charles Skaggs on Twitter, and of course at Charles Skaggs on Instagram, also on Facebook, Charles Skaggs, and let's see, Google Plus for all you crazy kids in the Google Plus.
Shout out to Karen.
Shout out to Karen. And my blog of geeky things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot, where I talk about lots of things like Next Stop Everywhere and Doctor Who and all kinds of sci-fi and comic book goodness. Just posted my review of Star Wars The Force Awakens not too long ago. So if you like Star Wars, you can check that out too.
Absolutely. And other podcasts?
Yeah, this other podcast we do with friend of the show, Karen Lindsay, called the Fandom Zone Podcast, where we talk about comic books on TV and all kinds of shows that Jesse likes and we like, and we need to have Jesse back on the Fandom Zone Podcast.
We do.
As schedule allows.
Yes, indeed. I want to do that. And I am at Jesse Jackson DFW. I am I'm in the middle of going through AKA Jessica Jones podcast here on this network, where Zach and I are going through the Jessica Jones episodes. That's been a lot of fun. We recorded one early yesterday morning. We're up through the first 6 episodes. Very pleased with that.
You're right on par with us because we just recorded episodes 5 and 6 yesterday of Jessica Jones.
Yes. To give us a little blank, I think 5 was the best episode of this series so far. The kind of flashback showing her, in the office job. And I said that also showed how good of an investigator she was.
Right. That
she dug up that deep, and the sandwich saved me. I liked it a lot.
It's a great title, isn't it?
It is. And then, of course, my other podcast is Set Lusting Bruce. I have my big Christmas present this year was I had bought tickets to Pittsburgh, and I'm flying out on a Saturday morning, flying back in Sunday morning. But Linda bought me tickets to the Louisville show, which is on a Sunday night. So I am actually flying out on Sunday and then flying back in Monday and taking a cab to work. So far I've got 2 Bruce shows that I'm going to see, and hopefully to record some live episodes before the concert to talk about that. So I'm excited.
Is there a Columbus show? You should fly in for that one as well.
There is not one. There is a Cleveland, but it is on a Tuesday. Oh. If there was a Columbus, trust me, I would be making you go to me. I would podcast live the whole time. So
you'd be holding me at gunpoint, going, "You're going to go to this show."
Absolutely. Yes.
Born to Run. Woo!
Yes. And so yeah, I'm excited about what's going on.
That's awesome.
And I got here late and did not do a quote, so I'm not even going to try to fake one.
Just pick one. Just pick one at random.
Pick a random thing. Okay.
It's kind of like stick your finger in the book and pick one.
Okay.
And tell us where it's from if you have it.
I will. I can say, here you go. It is from Charles's least favorite episode of all times.
Love and Monsters?
Yes.
Oh.
I should say,
what a horrible note to end out.
This isn't, my whole life. It's not all spaceships and stuff because I'm into all sorts of things. I like football. I like a drink. I like Spain. And if there's one thing I really, really love, then it's Jeff Lynne and the Electric Light Orchestra because you can't beat a bit of ELO.
What a note to end up 2015 on. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. Well, let's hope 2016 has a better quote.
How about this? Instead, we will say keep hope alive, and we'll say, you want to see Elvis? Just go for the late 50s, the time before burgers, when they called him the pelvis and he still had a waist. What's more, you see him in style. That is the doctor from the Idiot's Lantern.
Nice.
So, a little bit better. We get Elvis and ELO.
Yep.
So,
very, very musical, and it flowed so well from the set list of Bruce.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. This has been absolutely wonderful. This will be the last episode before 2016. Mm-hmm. Charles and I appreciate so much the listenings and the downloads and the retweets, and you guys are an amazing fan base.
And now the T-shirts.
Yeah, T-shirts, and I will tell you that this is the getting to talk Doctor Who with Charles is a highlight every week. And so we would do this even if you didn't listen, but we're so glad you did.
Yes, thank you very much, everybody. And we hope you guys have a great new year, and we'll see you in 2016.
Bye.
Bye.